Data protection and privacy teams are under more pressure than ever with new laws, AI oversight, data breaches, and the constant expectation to do more with fewer resources.
That's why TrustArc built a modern privacy and data protection management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. It unifies your tools, automates the work that slows you down, and surfaces what matters most right when you need it.
From guided quick actions to our intelligent assistant, Ask Arc, you get credible, contextual answers backed by expert research, not generic AI guesses.
Finally, privacy that works the way privacy pros work.
Learn how TrustArc helps teams move faster with confidence at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.
Hey, serious privacy enthusiasts. Ready to ace your AI data privacy game?
Oh, you bet, Kay. Dive into the world of TrustArc's Nimity Research, your go-to for staying on top of regulatory developments in AI and privacy.
Seriously, Nimity Research maintains a massive privacy and regulatory database featuring expert guidance and analysis from legal and privacy pros.
So save time on privacy research, cut your compliance timeline, and reduce costs with Nimity Research.
Get your regulatory research and insights at your fingertips with a free trial.
So get ahead in privacy compliance and start that free trial today. Go to trustarc.com/nimity-free-trial.
You're listening to Serious Privacy, powered by TrustArc. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kay Royal and Paul Breitbart.
So this episode should be released just in time for your trip back home from the IAPP Global Privacy Summit 2024, if you attended. And as you know right now, unfortunately, I did not. There is some serious FOMO going on in the Netherlands this week, seeing all of my friends from around the world gather in DC for deep dives into AI and long discussions on cross-border transfers, think tank sessions, and of course the many socials that are organized across town. But that said, Kay is on site this week and will give you all the juice in our next episode. For this week, she spoke with Val Ilchenko, TrustArc's General Counsel and Chief Privacy Officer. Her interview with him is what you will hear this week. As always, my name is Paul Breitbart, and welcome to Serious Privacy.
All right, sitting here. So I'm here with Val Ilchenko, who is now the General Counsel and Chief Privacy Officer of TrustArc. Thank you so much for joining. Those of all who know me and Paul know how lovely it is to introduce you to Val as the General Counsel and Chief Privacy Officer of TrustArc. And Val, we're going to start with the unexpected question, and I'm not even holding this up to my mouth. We're going to start with the unexpected question of what was the one item you brought with you traveling that you would never leave home without?
Thanks, Kay. I'm super happy to be here. The one item I always bring is my 6-year-old daughter likes to make bracelets, so I typically either am wearing one or have one in my bag. But it's kind of funny because I'll be in, a shirt, a dress shirt with a pink bracelet with a heart on it or something like that. But I always have one of my daughter's bracelets somewhere with me when I'm traveling.
Oh, that is amazing. And just so y'all know, these really are unexpected questions. I have no idea what I travel with that would be the one item I wouldn't leave home without. It used to be when I traveled all the time, one of our other good friends from TrustArc, Edward, showed me this tool you can get that locks the hotel door.
Okay.
That you put it in on the inside and it has a little slide lock on it, and
Very
nobody
nifty.
can open the door. And he used it when he was living with young kids so he could keep them out of his office while he was working, which I thought was brilliant. So that used to be my one tool, but I'm not on the road anymore. So I bought a new suitcase this time. So that was definitely that. And then right as I was leaving the house, suitcase packed, the brand new boots I ordered to wear tomorrow for my session came in. They're pink, sparkly cowboy boots.
Love it.
So I had to have those. But the one item I wouldn't leave home without, I just have to say medicine.
Okay. Headphones, right? What about headphones?
I don't do headphones.
Okay.
But I did buy the Bose noise canceling earplugs.
Okay.
And then I never tried them, but I bought them.
Yeah.
I have them with me, so I'll see if those work. But I love it. But we're here at IAPP. We just finished day one. What have your thoughts been so far?
Wow, it's been tremendous. Honestly, the amount of people that I've met, the TrustArc clients, and really anybody else, I've met such tremendous folks here.
Keep going. Someone's calling, but I don't think it's messing up the recording. It looks like the recording's still going. Okay.
I've just met some wonderful people here, some really bright minds. I went to this wonderful roundtable on Monday with a number of folks in the ad tech space, general counsels, and partners of law firms and various others, and that was amazing. Just being in that think tank with some of those thought leaders was incredible.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, Future of Privacy Forum had its 15th anniversary,
Nice.
which was wonderful. There were folks like regulators from the CNIL, which is the French Data Protection Authority, as well as folks from local, state, federal government, and some of the foremost companies. You saw folks from Netflix, Amazon, just
Nice.
amazing folks there.
FPF is amazing.
FPF is amazing. I think, we're not being paid for this plug, but I think
No,
we
we're
both
not.
love FPF. And Jules is amazing. But
Yes.
but yeah, so that was really wonderful. And then today's just been great, just hearing from different folks about where this space is going, what privacy tech needs to look like, where privacy is going, hearing about all the folks that are passionate about AI.
Right.
The
Have
keynote.
you gone to the AI sessions?
I went to the keynote yesterday that talked about AI, and
Okay.
it was just so cool to hear about some of these things that folks are working on, particularly from MIT Media Labs.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Just super grateful to be here. It is my first IAPP.
I was gonna ask, what's your experience with
Yes.
IAPP?
Yes, obviously a little bit of a spectacle, but so
Okay.
great. Trevor puts on such a great show.
He does.
And it's cool to see all these different familiar faces, and it's kind of funny being in DC during it.
Yeah.
It's really easy to geek out on these sort of privacy celebrities. You see privacy celebrities in your hotel lobby, and when you're walking to a venue, and it's just so funny to see people like Omar Tine or Andy Dale or Justin Antonopoulos. You're just walking by and you just see them casually on your walk, and it's such a big deal because I think for a lot of us, we've been following them for years, right? And now it's sort of like you're meeting these celebrities.
Now I'm humbled because clearly I'm not one of those celebrities.
Oh, you definitely are. No, you aren't.
I forced him to say that. Let's be clear there. I forced him to say that. But no, I agree with you. I started coming here. I think my first IAPP was back in 2008, maybe 2007. God, I'd have to go back and count up all the years. There weren't that many people here.
So many people now.
There weren't. They used to count how many people up in the keynote and everything like that. I mean, I think we're way past that now.
Yeah.
But it is good, and you're right. It is really cool. I used to hate to come to the DC one. I prefer the PSR in the fall.
Sure.
Used to hate DC because it was so crowded, but they've redone it. I think after COVID, they're recovering, but they've redone it to where it's more spaced out and it doesn't feel as crowded. Used to be you couldn't get into sessions, you couldn't get into rooms, the doors would be shut. And even now, the ones that we thought we'd be locked out of, they've moved to huge salons where, they're not going to fill up. So it's been really nice. But I will say it used to be that you didn't even hardly get to go to any of the sessions. You would see people in the hallway and just sit and chat. And, next thing you know, an hour's gone. It was the best way to catch up. But my favorite sessions so far have been the ones with the regulators. So the two that come to mind is the one that Julie Brill ran this morning, where she had in Ulrich, who is with Germany, had in Anu Tallis, who's the chair of the EDPB, had in two regulators, one from France, one from Italy, I believe. I have their names. I posted them. I'll make sure I provide that. That one was really good. And then the one Travis LeBlanc did with Ashkin, the head of the CPPA. So really cool to hear that, because I know everyone's going to the AI ones. People, I'm not going to the AI ones. I got to learn AI. I plan to take the AI test. It went on sale yesterday. I'm not going to take it in person here. I plan to buy it and take it remote, but I haven't looked at any of the study materials yet. But I know that's something I want to get on them. So have you been to any of the sessions?
I've been to a few sessions, but honestly, some of my favorite events have been some of the hallway conversations.
Right, they are. They're the best.
If I'm being honest, not that the sessions haven't been wonderful, but running into people like Phil Lee from Digifile or Sebastian Kraska.
I haven't seen Phil today. Okay,
yeah.
good.
So I spoke to Phil Lee today. I spoke to Sebastian Kraska, who was GoTo's former external DPO, and he's wonderful. Just talking to folks like that, hearing from them about their thoughts about kind of the future of this space and some of the trends and focuses has been super valuable, because ultimately some of those hallway conversations, as much as the sessions, are sort of where you learn and where some of that magic happens, where you make those connections.
And you build the relationship.
Exactly, exactly.
Last year for lunch, getting my little snippets for the podcast, my gluten-free was like behind a curtain way back in the back. And so me and my friends grabbed my food. We went and sat down. There was this gentleman at the table, and I said, "Sir, I'm I'm recording little snippets from people at IAPP for my podcast. He just kind of quirked an eyebrow at me. I'm like, seriously, it's a legitimate podcast. It's considered one of the best in the world. Thanks to my listeners, our listeners. It's one of the best in the world. It's legitimate. I mean, seriously, just a couple of minutes. I said, but there's no pressure. You don't have to. We'll go back to our lunch. I said, you did, however, get inspired to go get one of my gluten-free lunches because you saw what I was eating. So he's like, I'll give you a few minutes. I asked him to introduce himself, and he was Google's DPO for Europe.
Okay. That's the way to make connections.
He's probably accustomed to being badgered,
right.
For everything and anything. But it was clear I had no idea. I jumped over there and I'm like, okay, so first thing I'll do is I'll ask you to introduce yourself. And he did. And my two friends across the table were like, oh, look at that. So it was kind of cool. And then I found out that my phone, which is an Android, when it goes into sleep mode and the screen blanks out after 3 minutes, it quit recording too.
Oh, no.
iPhone doesn't do that. So iPhone, you got another mark in the plus column here.
Right.
But no, it has been good. And I know waiting to talk to you today, you've been in back-to-back meetings with customers, potential customers. I think that is a fantastic thing that TrustArc is doing. I'll go ahead and say this. Given that the legal team is essentially the business owner of the product because it is a legal compliance software.
Sure.
So y'all have heard us talk about that before. Paul and I both, we're the ones that help develop the product because we feed into the laws. We make sure, and Joanne first, honest to God, the world worships at her feet, but she was in the legal team before they moved to product. So, but it was a case of, it's a compliance software. We're the ones that would look at it and say, oh, this is right or this is wrong. You have to have someone with that privacy expertise. How has that been for you as a move to TrustArc? That's kind of a new role.
Absolutely. It really has been a new role. I think that being an operator at GoTo, which was my former employer, was very different, right? I think being an operator means being subject to the laws, kind of looking for the right technology and tools, etc. Versus at TrustArc, it's been really cool because I can actually look at what the market needs.
Yeah, product development.
And advocate for it. Which is really exciting. So I can think about, with Eric Sendelbach, who's our chief product officer, we think about, hey, what does the market need? Let's build things that people are clamoring for. Let's not build stuff and go find an audience. Let's build things that people have been complaining about because, one of the topics that has come up over and over in these conversations here is a lot of the problems we all face as privacy pros are actually universal truths, right? Yeah. Everybody wants to know where their data is, how their data is mapped. Everybody's having conversations about AI, management, and governance.
Everybody's having conversations about the business going wild and not getting us in on time, not bringing us in. There's no privacy by design.
Of course. Yes. So I think it's been really cool to be thinking about what are not just our clients, but the community needs. Yeah. And building for it, right? I think a really great example is, I've had great conversations with folks like Jules Polnetsky from Future Privacy Forum about AI, and he was telling me, earlier on in my, joining TrustArc, hey, we are hearing from a lot of our members what they need, and they're looking for AI governance. Yes. Right? And so that was one of the early things that Noel Luke, who's our chief assurance officer, and I came up with. We said, hey, look, people need guidance. Yeah. Let's use our world-class knowledge team. Let's build something that helps people figure out how to do this and manage it and govern it and get that fancy seal, right? And again, it wasn't just, it is good for TrustArc, obviously, but more importantly, there is a legitimate need for guidance. AI is a new topic, and a lot of people are still trying to wrap their heads around it.
Well, it's a solution in search of a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can solve a lot of problems, but you need to identify the problem and then identify the solution that goes with it. So I get it. My company, Crawford, just signed up to the UK AI in healthcare. God, I'll have to get that one right. I'll come back and record that one. Note to self. But it's signing up to a core set of principles that we're going to meet. And I made sure those principles are in our AI policy, that we have that as well. Am I going to get a title change for that? No. Do I need a title change for every new emerging technology that comes out? I don't. Now, that's not knocking those of you that have it in your title. That's really cool. But yeah, I might cut that out. This is where you see the mud working. But it really is fascinating to see that, and I agree, because where I took over, we had a competitor. Now, we had TrustArc. We had not given up TrustArc. We had slashed what we did with it and then moved some of it to a competitor because the consulting company we used that company. I gave them 6 months I had tutorials on it. I went in looking for it. I couldn't find what I needed. I couldn't print it out in a usable way. I couldn't connect things together. And I had multiple training sessions on it with the consulting company, with other friends I have that use that product and love it. I still couldn't use it. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going right back to TrustArc. Had to beat Marco up on the price a little bit. So if y'all are out there, feel free to give Marco a holler and tell him you want the price Kay got. Ha ha ha. But I mean, I had to, because I mean, I still had the budget. It was overlapping, everything like that. But it was important to me, not necessarily because I believe TrustArc beat the competitor. That's not what I'm talking about, although y'all know I do. The point was, the reason why software fails is because people don't know how to use it. They want a magic button they can press, and there is no magic button for this. And then a year later, 2 years later, when they're reporting up to the board or they're reporting on their budget and this software hasn't done what they thought, is because they didn't take the time to get to know it and how to use it and get that full use out of it. I know I'll get my money's worth out of TrustArc.
Yeah. And, you know, I have sort of a comment there, and then I have a question for you, Kay.
I know, I'm
flip
not sure
the script.
that's allowed.
I know. And, you know, my view there is, I think that's right. TrustArc does have great support. But sort of as a broader statement, my philosophy is that I think that in general in the privacy tech space, we need to be working towards making it easier for people, particularly earlier in their journey.
Yes.
Because one thing that I've seen across, you know, many companies, many competitors, everybody, is that it's often tailored towards folks who are kind of seasoned.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've been working hard on is us working on releasing products that
the new ones,
that
the
go
newbies.
the newbies, because one of the questions that I want to make sure that we answer every time, and we now do, is what do I do when I'm just getting started? When somebody's just getting started, they have very different questions, very different needs, and a product needs to work very differently than when you're an expert and you know that you want to toggle here or there. And so I want to push not just TrustArc, but the entire industry to really be thinking about the fact that to accommodate this new generation of privacy pros who are just getting started, it's really hard to wrap your hands around this idea of a data inventory for a huge, you know, multi-$100 million organization. So we need to
take the first step.
Exactly. Let's help people take the first step, and let's do better. Let's make it easier for people to get started.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you, Kay.
Okay.
So we were talking about AI a little bit, and I think it's been a really interesting topic, and maybe it's been covered in other podcasts of yours, but
that's okay.
Where should AI risk management sit?
Oh, right.
Because this has been this hotly debated topic.
We haven't talked about that.
Okay.
We actually hadn't, and I don't have Paul here. Paul is, as y'all know, he's moving into his new home. He's getting floors put down. I actually have drywall and trim up on my house, so we're getting closer. Y'all following the... By the way, I was going to do stickers for the Serious Privacy Cookbook. I probably should have done the house building plans, but there we go. But he may have a totally different view, but the way that we're designing it is kind of like privacy and information governance. It needs to reside with the people who understand what the laws are around it, the ethics, the laws, what the repercussions mean. That doesn't mean that that department needs to be the one to operationalize it. I own privacy, but I'm not the one putting privacy in all the systems. I'm telling them what they need to do to the systems. I think it needs to be the same way. So yes, I want to own the AI policy. I'm not going to say whether I do or not. I try not to bring my company into this too much. But as a privacy professional, I would want to own the AI policy. But the AI operationalization has to go with the business. So I'm liking this hybrid model, the same as with information governance, that you have a functional owner who's the one that implements it, and you have an oversight owner who's the one that tells you what the guardrails are. And I think they need to work together. So for me, AI would work along that way as well. But I will tell you, they make AI so easy for people to implement that it's out there and going bonkers. Right. I mean, we hear stories of CEOs using it to write their emails. And I think Paul and I spoke about this on a recent podcast. Does that mean that if your CEO is putting his email in an OpenAI, Chat GPT, whatever, that's not locked down to your company, is there a business secret in that email? Is there something he's talking about that maybe you don't want to go into some open software? But you're hearing stories about these things happening and people just not thinking, oh, it's just giving me a better way of putting this. But it's taking that data and doing something with it. And yes, y'all pay us. We're both attorneys. Y'all pay us to be paranoid. It comes with the territory. But what do you think? Where do you think it should be owned?
I think it's been a really interesting dynamic. I think oftentimes it is falling on your privacy attorneys.
And I think falling's a good word.
Yeah.
Because again, we can't implement or operationalize it.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think also is that practically speaking, I have very rarely run into people that are like data counsel or data SMEs.
Right.
Right. You have your privacy attorneys or SMEs, your security, et cetera. So AI is sort of this new territory, and it is falling often on privacy attorneys, but there's a lot of other concerns.
Yes.
And so, for example, previously what I've seen is sometimes you sort of you have a small, kind of oversight board or committee, for example,
which, by the way, I think you have to.
Yes.
And it has to be a consulting working council. It can't just be like the board that you come and you give a report to.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, and I mean even at a microcosm level.
Yeah.
I mean even for sort of the more micro level decisions. I think more often than not, having somebody like an intellectual property attorney involved or somebody with that expertise.
I used to mention that in privacy back when I worked at a med device company, a global med device company, that I needed to be involved and I needed the IP attorney, us, to be involved in it. And they're like, why? And it's like, if you can't see where you have personal data or implications, or let's even say protecting your plans.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at some point, the privacy officers, privacy counsel, whatever you want to put it, we also know about protecting data, whether that data is personal data or not. We know how to protect data.
Yeah. But I think absolutely. But I think the IP council are also very helpful because they
should be very helpful.
Well, there are these, of course, but there are these amazing code generation technologies by some of the biggest technology companies in the world, and there are serious IP concerns about ownership. And
well,
things
and
like
even
that.
about doing proof of concepts with different types of vendors. Are you going to go with internal, external? I mean, I've had people say, but it's not a third party. It's Microsoft. It's not a third party. It's Azure. It's not a third party. It's Amazon Kendra?
The Code Whisperer is one of the...
Something. It's not those are third parties. Unless you're Microsoft or Amazon, those are third parties.
Yeah, exactly. And I've even had conversations with like M&A attorneys about how does this come up, right? How do these things come up? So I think that AI, while often has become a privacy topic for good reason,
there are big IP issues with it.
There are big IP issues, there are ownership issues, and these might populate in other ways. So really, at least like when you're developing your governance and your programs, you should be thinking about the fact that there are proprietary intellectual property ownership. If you're a software company and you're using this for code generation, there are amazing possibilities for output, but there's also real risks that people need to consider.
And look at it this way, it's almost the same thing as used to be with open source software.
Yeah.
It used to be companies, no open source software, but you like open source software because it's publicly available, people can test it. There's rules around it. There's always rules. And so, like I said, even for just a proof of concept to see if this is a vendor you think you might sort of kind of want to wait with, if they can do what you want them to do, they're taking your data. They're learning your process. Is there anything that you're getting from that vendor that if you did not go with them, then you came back later and wanted to, is there an IP claim there?
Right, exactly.
It's huge.
I think in general, AI is fantastic. And by the way, if folks haven't seen it, I want to recommend 2 demos to everybody.
Oh, please do.
You should look at the Sora video demos. It's OpenAI's video technology, SORA. And then separately, there's a YouTube video where OpenAI's technology is used with Figure, which is a robotics company.
Oh, cool.
And it's incredible, the things that we're seeing.
We'll make sure to link those in the show notes where we have that. That'd be cool.
They're mind-blowing to watch, and I think that the technology is there. I do think there are legitimate, things that we need to think about as privacy pros, as data folks, et cetera. But I think it's really about managing the risk. With the CEO email,
right.
Maybe if you're using a version of these tools where the model isn't being trained,
right,
e.g. a ChatGPT for business,
right,
there's more flexibility. Maybe if all the information has been redacted,
and let's
more
be clear, it doesn't have to be the CEO's email.
Of course.
But those are the ones that are hitting the news that you're hearing about, that someone did something. But it's also the case of with any vendor or supplier that you use, whether it's free, whether it's low cost, you're the product. It is designed to go around your corporate third-party risk management program or designed to go around your procurement program to have people either use something free and that way they're getting your data, they're training their models, whatever, or it's so low cost you can just expense it. There's a reason it's low cost or free because the product's not the product. You're the product.
And just like any free service, think about the rules that we've learned about from CCPA and CPRA and GDPR. Where is this data going? Why is it going there? What's the basis? All those things. And if you think about it that way, yes, it's new. Yes, it's novel. Yes, it's emerging. But some of these are sort of commonalities with other technologies that you just need to think
Exactly.
about.
Well, and Paul and I have talked about that before, is that, yes, AI is different, but AI is the exact same as any other emerging technology that people want to use, although it's actually been emerged for quite a while now.
That's right.
We do know that the mass production availability of the Chat GPT is what's taken the world by storm. But it's an emerging technology, just like it's a new technology. It's a new thing to your company, just like any other powerful technology. Look at it that way. Take the same risks that you would. And yes, I know your business is screaming at you that you've got to do it. You've got to do it. They're losing money. Your competitors are doing it. We know. So, okay, so if this is your first IAPP, as we close out, why don't you tell me how you got into privacy?
That is a great question. So
You're like, do I have an answer?
No, I do have an answer. I realized early on in my legal career that I wanted to be in-house.
Okay.
And so I kind of focused my...
Did you ever go to a law firm?
I worked at a law firm as like a paralegal before law school, and I think it was great, and I learned some wonderful things, but I think I realized...
knew I didn't want to be at a law firm. I never even went there.
Well, I think I wanted to be sort of in a more business technology setting. I'm a technologist. Growing up, I would build computers and make websites, and I was very into the technology aspect of this stuff.
Okay.
And so I kind of focused my entire law school, business school, internship experience on being in technology companies. I interned at Boston Scientific and Iron Mountain, and this company called Neolane. They got acquired by Adobe. So I was really focused on being in a tech setting.
I like that. I was very much in tech settings myself. I can commiserate with that. Yeah.
So super focused on it. I just love tech. I just love learning about it.
I love small startup companies.
Yeah, I liked both. I liked working at $40 billion market cap companies as much as small startup companies. Yeah. And so I sort of focused my work on that. Life takes funny turns. So after I graduated law school, I spent about a year in Air Force Material Command.
Okay.
So that was different in the procurement contracting, unit. So that was different, but I learned a lot of invaluable lessons on things like the federal acquisition regulation.
Yep.
But I went in-house after that. I was at a company called Progress Software, and they knew I had sort of a technology background, and this was 2015. So they were like, hey, we need to start thinking more about GDPR. It's coming.
Right.
And I was there. I was a technologist, and I was helping the attorneys there. And I went to Go2, and that sort of logged me in at the time. And that journey sort of expanded. And at the time, it was a small subset of my work. It logged me in, where I spent about 8 years. It was a small subset of my work, but it kind of continued to grow. And it went from, part of my role as a commercial and product attorney to more of my role, to my entire role.
Nice.
And so from basically, end of 2017 through the remaining tenure through 2020, I was focused on building our privacy program, supporting our security programs,
nice, the whole GDPR
program.
and COVID time.
Exactly. And for a portfolio company with 3 different business units and over a dozen different products serving different clients, B2B, B2C, IT professionals,
very
complex, yeah. So I was drinking with a fire hose, and I was building what ended up being 12 to 15 different privacy programs from scratch.
Wow.
Because we were entering new markets, we were acquiring companies, we were divesting companies, all these different things were happening. And I was learning about privacy from so many different angles
and lenses.
So in
other words, you're saying you've really slowed down now.
Yes, I've slowed down quite a bit.
But with the 6-year-old daughter, you need to.
6-year-old and a 3-year-old, that's right.
Oh, my grandchildren are 3, 4, and 5, so I'm with you.
But throughout that time, I really loved the privacy aspect. I love technology first, so privacy, security, etc.
Right. It goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand, but I think with privacy, there's just such an important, greater good aspect. The things that you're doing.
You're speaking my language.
Well, the things that we're doing aren't just for our business. They're for kind of society.
It's the helping profession.
Yeah, and I think that's been a big part of my motivator is the hearts and minds elements of working in this space.
Right.
Of making sure that we are, I like to use this silly sort of parallel I go to when I was talking to engineers, which was, hey, if you have a dog and you drop the dog off at doggy daycare, you expect that when you pick up the dog, it hasn't been cloned.
Right.
You haven't the dog hasn't been shaved. They haven't been sending illegal recordings somewhere else. Yeah, they haven't, taken the tail, shortcut the tail by a little bit. Right. You kind of expect your dog to be in one piece, and that was the example I kept giving was...
That's a great example.
When you're a data processor service provider, you expect your data to be relatively in one piece the same way it was when you gave it to the company.
Yeah.
And I think thinking about things in that manner and how important that was for so many people just keeps me coming back for more, kind of the helping and importance of what we're doing.
Nice. I really can't think of a better note to end on. I mean, he sings my song better than I sing it, and y'all have heard me sing, so y'all know it's true. I'll leave it to Paul to close us out then.
Thanks, Kay. That was great. Indeed, this wraps up another episode of Serious Privacy. If you like the conversation, join us on LinkedIn. You'll find us under Serious Privacy. You will find Kay on social media as Heart of Privacy and myself as Europol B. Next week, more from the IAPP Global Privacy Summit. Until then, goodbye.
All right. Oh, I guess I should say bye, y'all.
Bye, all.
That was Serious Privacy.
Hey listeners, looking to navigate the realm of responsible AI data privacy governance? Well, look no further.
Absolutely. TrustArc is paving the way, offering a complete approach to managing privacy risks in the world of AI.
TrustArc allows organizations to confidently use AI with personal or sensitive data, moving forward efficiently and cost-effectively.
And here's the kicker. Protect your company and data with TrustArc's privacy-driven compliance software.
Because their deep automation streamlines data privacy governance, cutting your time to compliance with automated data mapping, risk assessments, and regulatory reporting.
TrustArc's enhancements go way beyond that, helping organizations understand AI better and align cross-functionally on data governance, privacy, and security.
Plus, they provide guidance on privacy governance for AI and how to mitigate risks using frameworks like NIST AI, OECD AI, and the NIMAC Privacy Management Accountability Framework.
If you're aiming for compliance excellence, check out Privacy Central. Seriously, one of my best parts. It uses automation and privacy expertise to understand your requirements, build and manage your privacy program with ease.
Oh, I agree. Privacy Central is your go-to to measure your progress toward responsible AI data compliance.
Stay ahead with TrustArc's Privacy Central. Visit trustarc.com now. Ask me and Paul if you have any questions.
If you're a data protection or privacy professional, you already know the pressure. Non-stop regulatory change, AI oversight, internal demands, and the expectation to somehow stay ahead of it all. And the old patchwork of tools just isn't cutting it anymore.
No, that's why TrustArc created a modern privacy management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. The TrustArc platform brings your workflows, evidence, research, tasks, and applications all together in one unified and intelligent workspace so you don't waste time digging, clicking, or context switching.
With Ask Arc, your privacy assistant, you can ask plain language questions about laws, jurisdictions, or even your own program data and get credible, cited answers based on NIMAC research and more than 1,000 global laws. It's explainable, transparent, and purpose-built for data protection and privacy.
So if you need to add a vendor, create a cookie banner, or start an assessment, quick actions take formally complex tasks, turn them into bite-sized guided workflows to save you time.
It's a platform that thinks like you, works like you, and helps you move faster with confidence, whether you're a seasoned DPO or you're just getting started.
See how modern privacy gets done. Explore Arc at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.